I'm actually kind of upset at myself right now, not gonna lie, because I'm having caffeine in the middle of the day, and a lot of you guys know I don't have caffeine past noon, and it's way past noon. It's actually 2:30. And it's just funny because caffeine addiction is literally the weirdest thing ever. You know you shouldn't do it, but then you do it anyway, and instead of feeling guilty, you almost feel happy that you did it anyway. Like there's like no guilt because you're like, well, it's not that bad. But in reality, in the long run, it's actually not that good for you. Anyway, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another YouTube video. For any of you guys that are new here, my name is Levi. In today's video, we are going to be talking about what I wish I knew before doing my marathon. It's now been a little over a month since I did my marathon. The last time I did my marathon, I was gonna say the last time I did a marathon, I've only done one, but my marathon was on April 30th. It is now, at the time of this recording, the 5th of June. So definitely gave myself over a month, just because if I didn't give myself enough time, I felt like I wouldn't have had all that I needed to reflect on or, you know, think of things I wish I would have done differently. So I'm not only really making this video for you guys, but I'm also making this video for myself so that when I do run a marathon again, I have something to look back on and go, oh, okay, you know, don't do that again. How we're gonna do this is, obviously you guys saw, I have my handy dandy whiteboard that I love using so much. And so we're gonna be doing that. We're gonna go through every single one by one. And we're gonna be starting off with the first one, which is, I wish I would have known to lose weight, or in other words, lose more weight. As some of you guys know, I only lost 5 pounds during my marathon prep. I actually made a whole video covering my weight loss during my marathon prep. And the reason I wish I would lost more is because I feel like it would have contributed to a better time. And I feel like it would have, I would say, kind of prevented maybe injury or made it, I would say, less difficult on my body. And so, as some of you guys know, I've actually competed in a half marathon as well. And when I competed in that, I was at 168 pounds, which is, I would say, about, how much lighter is that? Sorry, my brain just doesn't like math right now. 6 pounds lighter than I was at the end of my marathon prep. So at the end of my marathon prep, I was 174. And at the end of my half marathon prep, I was 168. So I was definitely lighter on my feet. I felt way better during that time period too. Like I said, I felt lighter on my feet. Like it felt easier to run, and I didn't get injured at all preparing for the half marathon, as where, you know, for this marathon, I've been dealing kind of with like this ankle injury and whatnot. Could be because I'm running in different shoes, not really too sure, but I definitely feel like running at a heavier weight just also puts a lot more stress on your joints and your knees and stuff. And so I wish I would have known to lose a little more weight. So if you guys can hear birds and stuff from nature and whatnot, it's because I'm recording outside today, and it's a beautiful day, even though I'm covered inside. The outside is like right there. We got to get going on the next one. Right, now that took way too long to erase, so I just put all of them up on here. So the next thing that we're gonna be focusing on, or the next thing I wish I knew more of, is planning. Now, I always, every time I've reflected on this channel and talked about some of the things that I've done, whether it be a bodybuilding show or the half marathon, I always say I wish I would have planned more, and I wish I would have done that with this. And so I guess the things that I wish I would have planned for more is really the final week of the prep. And this was just so stressful because at the last week I was thinking like, wait, shouldn't I probably be doing something like in particular to like the very last week of training? Kind of like how in a bodybuilding show, for example, you know, last week is peak week, so you know, you're cutting out every single carb that you eat, and then like 2 days before or a day prior, you load up on some fruit or something that's just very fast to digest, so that when you're on stage, you actually look filled out more so. And so I was like, there's gotta be something like that for a marathon, right? And so I looked it up and I found out that. And so I just wish I would have, you know, planned ahead, because it would have taken the stress off me, you know, coming into the last week of the race, because that is gonna be the most stressful time period for me. And so that is just something that I really wish I would have done. You can always plan more, you can always do more. So I think that's just always gonna be something that I wish I knew ahead of time, no matter what. Next thing that I wish I would have done is focused a lot more on rest, or got more rest. But what I mean by rest isn't recovery. I literally mean rest, like sleep rest. And the reason I wish I would have got more of that is because there were so many times before I went to go on a run where I felt like, man, dude, I am just exhausted. I'm super tired. I mean, there's so many other factors, just the fact that, you know, I'm doing school, I'm editing my own videos. There's a lot more, but I know I didn't go to bed on the times that I should have gone to bed. Like, I usually go to bed at 9:30. I was going to bed sometimes at like 11, 11:30. And so I just wish that I made it I would say much more bigger priority to go to sleep on time rather than staying up, because I feel like I would have had much better runs if I wasn't so tired. The next thing that I wish I knew was to make recovery as equally important as training. Now, a lot of you guys know on my channel, I like to be very, I would say, conscious of recovery, as I've learned it is something super important from some of the injuries I've sustained throughout my career in sports, fitness, lifting, whatever you want to call it. I've actually made a whole video on like my recovery and whatnot, but I still feel like part of me is in like this teenage phase of like, oh, I can go do whatever I want and beat my body to crap and it'll just recover. Like, I've learned no, things actually don't work like that, especially as you get older. And so I just wish I would have prioritized recovery a little more. You could argue, like, don't you wish like you just would have been more consistent? Like, no, I'm a pretty, I would say, consistent person. I always show up. I do what I need to do when it's on the list, but I just feel like I played it kind of stupid, not gonna lie. Like, I just feel like I didn't emphasize on it enough. Like, I had recovery days in place, as some of you guys know. Like, I went through and broke it down in like a full day or something like that. Like, on Wednesdays I was supposed to do ice baths and sauna, and there was some days where I was like, you know, I'm good. And I, you know, sustained some injuries, I think, from not focusing on recovery. There's definitely days where I should have been icing certain parts of my body too, and I just didn't. Wish I would have done that more. Definitely gonna be something I focus on a lot more next time. So don't be an idiot like me. Do exactly what I would have or should have done. Now, the last thing that I'm going to mention, which I felt was really, really important, was do your sprint workouts. And I talked about this recently in a video that's actually doing really good right now on the channel. I'm gonna move this off my legs. I don't wanna keep holding it on my legs. I wish I would have incorporated a lot more sprint workouts or high intensity cardio. And like I mentioned, I said it in another video that's doing well right now. And I mentioned in that video that I wish I would have done it because it would have helped me a lot more in my marathon training. Obviously, zone 2 training is like the king of, you know, helping you get in more shape to run faster for a marathon. But sprint work definitely has its area where it can help you. And where it can help you is when, let's just say I'm going up a steep graded hill on a marathon, right? It's going to elevate my heart rate at, you know, a very high rate. So compared to running at a consistent 150 and keeping it there, you know, it's gonna raise it to like a 180, 190. And then after that, I'm gonna need to be able to recover back down to a 150 faster so I can get back into my groove. And that's exactly what sprint workouts help with. They help you to lower your heart rate faster, get you used to, you know, raising your heart rate and then bringing it right back down. I just didn't do enough of that. So whenever I came across, you know, a pretty good elevation during my marathon, particularly at the end of it when there was like the most elevation during the whole thing, I couldn't get my heart rate to come down for a very long time. So I was just running at a very slow pace for a while until it finally came back down, and then I was able to run at a faster pace. And I actually think I have some photos or recordings on my Garmin showing that, so I'll put it up on the screen. But yeah, I definitely neglected a lot of sprint work. I wish I would have done it. I did like a few sprint workouts at the end of the training. It just wasn't enough to make a significant difference, but I definitely wish I would have done a lot more of it because it would have been so much more beneficial than just strictly sticking to zone 2 running. Essentially, that's it. That's what I wish I would have known before my marathon, those 5 things. It would have been a lot more, I would say, beneficial for me. Like, no crap, I don't know why I even just said that. But yeah, in all, that's really what I wish I would have known before my marathon, or in other words, those are the 5 things that I wish I knew. Probably wouldn't have got me to qualify for Boston. I did really good during my marathon. I got a 3 hour and 25-minute marathon for my first ever marathon, which is really good for your first marathon. So, you know, regardless, I'm happy with how I performed, but there's always room for improvement. And I think those areas where I could have improved upon the most to get better results, but I definitely don't think it would have helped me to qualify for Boston. That's gonna do it for this video. I hope you guys liked this video. If you guys did, be sure to give it a like. If any of you guys are new here, do not forget to press that subscribe button because you guys know I will be back. And as always, die trying to do what you love. The sky is the limit, and I'll see y'all in the next one.
Bye.